Hey everyone, Davram, we're back at the 50th anniversary of GenCon, and we're here in the expansion, Lucas Oil Stadium, the home of the Colts. We're here, and I'm here with Kaylin, who's going to tell us about this really cool mystery-style puzzle-solving game.
Hi there. So my name is Kaylin Sandel. I'm one of the staff writers for Susurrus Season of Tides. It is a choose-your-own-adventure interactive novel on the web. It's free to play. It very much focuses on atmosphere. We have beautiful art, beautiful music, but the core of it is the story. The premise is that you wake up in the middle of the city as a vampire, werewolf, or mage with, some events leading up to that. And then once you do, it's time for you to look at the city with new eyes, find other supernatural creatures, get to know them, and then gradually start to realize that things are changing not just for you, but for them. And in so doing, a world of decisions opens up in front of you. You can join a faction, you can try to get to the bottom of the mystery, or you can try to just gain as much as you can yourself, be it power or money or influence or contacts.
Excellent. So what we're going to do is we're going to move over to the computers here in just a moment and let you all see a playthrough of the game, a
Yes.
little bit of the gameplay, so you all kind of know what you're getting when you go to the website and play for free.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we've made a curated demo here. It's sort of a condensed version of the game that you can play just by going to susurrusgame.com, and that's free. And it's live now. We launched the early edition with the beginning of GenCon.
Excellent. So let's move over there and we'll take a look.
Sounds great.
All right, so we're back and we're going to take a look at the game. So go ahead and take us through the little demo here.
Okay, so this is our offline demo for Susurrus Seasons of Tides. Rather than having the more abstract way of selecting that's in the narrative, it's just a simple choice here, vampire, werewolf, or mage. I'm going to go ahead and go with mage because I like the starting quests and companions for it specifically. Most of the game is in this format. You're going to see usually some art up here, but primarily it's text. And as you scroll down, you're presented with choices. Early on, it's just one choice, but more and more, you'll have more choices to play with. The demo starts out giving you a little introduction to the things that cause you to become the supernatural creature that you spend most of the game as. But in the very early stages, you haven't turned yet. So you're really looking around the city, and everything seems terribly strange. Mages in our universe are affected by a particular condition that causes them to see language differently and to use language to affect the very fabric of reality. And so a character who starts becoming a mage does so because he or she or they had read a bit of the magical script and it has gotten into their mind. So from this point forward, we kind of let the player wander a little bit. There are things that you can do on your street, such as perhaps reading a flyer about the Church of Eternal Life. And again, this is a thing that we do very often in the game, is we plant plot threads that don't pay off right away, but that observant players will see come up again and again as they look into the conspiracies that run to the heart of the game. Having done that, we can now move to Hamilton Square, where there's lots more to do.
I like the artwork that you guys have done at the top.
We are so proud of our art. Duncan Eagleston is our lead artist, and he also has a stable of contracted artists that I can see one of our monsters has appeared over here, but the camera isn't going to be able to see her. Yeah. Our lead artist, Duncan Eagleston, has a stable of contractors who have produced just tremendous amounts of art for dozens of non-player characters and dozens of locations. In addition, our composer Guthrie has been writing music for the game, which, those who come by our booth will hear some of that music on our trailer, but those who decide to play the game at home will hear the real thing placed in the quests where we programmed them.
Yeah, I've been able to listen to some of the music playing on your trailer right next to us.
Yes.
I'm guessing it's not going to come through on the microphones, but it's wonderful.
Probably not, but all of your viewers can just head over to Susurrus Game and hear it themselves.
It's wonderful.
And we love to touch on existing fears and mythos. So we have a creepy little clown over here. There is it's not in the demo, but there is a magical fairy run fun fair, a traveling carnival that the player can visit. And there's some stuff already written for that, but we're going to be adding more as time goes by. Our game was released in early edition, as I said before, and it is going to evolve as we continue to work on it. And also, we're listening to user feedback, so anybody who plays the game and has feedback for us may affect the path of our development.
Very cool.
So you see, this is the little teaser for the fun fair.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
In the game, a player who goes through that quest will unlock the fun fair location and can meet the ringmaster. But soon, let's see. Let's head back to our street where I think there's something waiting for us. Or am I jumping the gun? Well, while we're here, we might as well investigate the chessboard that our character saw earlier. So already we can see that things aren't the way we expect them to be. At this point, the character has begun an inevitable journey into becoming a mage. And indeed, there are things that have been here all along that you just couldn't see before. The idea is that the supernatural world tends to hide itself from those who aren't a part of it. And as the player exposes themselves to more and more of it, they see more.
And now the stories, we're looking at the mage right now.
Yes.
Now there's vampire and werewolf who would have very differing paths for players
That's
to walk
right.
through.
Some of the material is overlapping. You can examine the figure in the pavement regardless of what species you are, but there will be slightly different text, and there will be certain things that are open only to one of the species at a time. And not to mention, you'll still be encountering other supernatural creatures, some of whom are part of these major conspiracies, but some of whom are just living their lives and walking dogs. At this point, I think that the coffee shop ought to be open for us. Let me see. Yep, sure enough.
Yep,
Cosmic Coffee, where a barista that we've seen every day doesn't look quite the same, as we learn that he is awakened too.
So you're going to start to see city characters that your character presumably interacts with on a daily basis start to look differently.
Precisely. Some of them are more significant than others. Some of them have seen things already. And some of them start to notice that there is something different about you. And a mage has an interesting challenge in that before they finish transforming and before they receive their special glasses, they stop being able to read normal language. So that's a little bit tricky. But at this point, the prospective mage has realized that something's going on. So sometimes we allow the player to wander freely, but sometimes we will force a quest to let them get on the path that will continue their plot. In this case, the mage has seen enough to know that something is going on very strangely and wants to get to the bottom of it.
It is a conspiracy.
Our local server is having a little lag there. And let's try writing. Nope, language is still lost to us. Can we type? Nope. but we can figure it out. I'm not going to spend too much time here because this is something that any of our prospective mages are going to go through. And here's another example of the amazing art that Duncan brings to the table. Is we have our own magical alphabet that only mages can use. Let's choose the rune for begin, which is appropriate since we've just launched. Let's reach out and choose this glyph. Normally there would be stat changes occurring in things like this because, like any good RPG, there are facets to your character that are going to be different from any other character, and so choosing which of these characters you are going to make part of yourself will affect your abilities going forward, and that actually leads into some of our design philosophy, which is to say that we try to reward the players no matter what decisions they make. If they undergo a challenge that's too difficult for them and they fail it, we still reward them because experience comes not from victory but from failure. We tend to reward players with prizes and progress, such as in-game currency or moving through a plot. And here's our companion Jared. So they will get prizes, plot, more information for succeeding. But if they fail, that's how you improve your stats. That's how you progress through the game.
Yeah, I noticed on the side a lot of those classic RPG style
yes,
user
indeed.
interface pieces like inventory, companions, and stats that everyone's familiar with.
That's right, and those are mostly not in play here in the demo because we still have to reset everything after each person plays. But that being said, there's lots to discover. Not even all of the stats that you can end up with appear on that screen. Some of the ones are how other characters feel about you, your standing within a faction, and there's even if your character slips up and ends up in the land of the dead and then makes it back, which, minor spoiler, that is feasible. The game will remember, and that may change things. Oh, here's an appearance from a character who is a very different type of supernatural than everyone else. Meet Elle. So again, action scenes, intrigue, magic, all these things that we try to work into it, and a player can often choose which kind of path they want to take. The decisions that you make not only affect how other characters react to you, but your reputation and demeanor. Your character's body, mind, and soul being open or closed changes the way that people interact with you, and sometimes will reveal or obscure potential choices. So let's get through here. And back to exploring once again. So our demo is very limited. Our character has now transformed into a mage. There are a few more things that we can do, but this more or less illustrates the breadth of things that your player is going to end up doing in the early game. As you progress further and further, you get opportunities that some players will never see, or at least for any given character that they may never see, because you can join factions, you can align yourself with certain characters who don't get along with other ones. We try to make sure that our branching paths are extensive, thorough, and interesting. No matter which choices you make, we have stories to tell you. And that's the core of our design philosophy, is that as we continue to design, our goal is to reward our players for every decision that they make. The one other thing that I haven't mentioned yet, which is not present in the demo, is that we have a nuanced multiplayer system. It's a sort of asynchronous multiplayer that has to do with cycles of power within the city. And if a player chooses to join a faction, they will be a part of those cycling powers, and they can speed up the turning of those wheels, or they can slow them down. They will compete with other factions. So while there's no direct player versus player combat or conflict in our game, there are still opportunities to interact with and compete with other players.
Right, so their decisions are now going to affect how that city is reacting and changing.
Precisely. And also, even the players who don't join factions will see these effects on the city, because the anomalies that occur, the strange doings that have been kicked off by the changes in the world, will depend on which factions currently hold power. And as time goes by, we're going to be writing more and more of that, because we are not ceasing development just because we've released the early edition. I would go so far as to say, even once we finish releasing the full edition, there's going to be more to come. And that's why we're confident that if players choose to delve down, there's going to continue to be lots to grab them, lots to hold them, and lots to keep them entertained.
Well, thank you very much for your time, and we'll make sure we put the link so everyone can come check out this game.
Thank you so much.
On the video. Thank you very much.
It was great talking to you, and I really appreciate the opportunity to show off the game that we feel so strongly about.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.